Alright. Try and do this as quickly as I can and as proficiently as I can. Got my Rock Island Armory 38 Super. Now we saw we had a couple of issues. We'll clear it. How? Yeah. What is going on now? Is there some sort of safety lock? Are you joking? What is going on here? Oh my god, I didn't... Blends in so well. I didn't notice again it was on safety. Gotta be aware of that. It's like my #1 issue, and it's mostly because I don't shoot enough. I use it because I know about it. I know to use it, but I don't do it enough to like be on point a lot. Anyways, okay. Well, at least we know it's not a safety trigger mechanism type deal. It was just the actual safety. There, by the way, right there is half cock. Sorry, I'm half cock, or I've also seen it called quarter cock. I've always heard it be called half cock. That's a safety. Okay. Can't pull the trigger right there. And then we have, from my view, the thumb safety. Typically used for, you load it, put it on safety, and holster it. I've always been more partial to the half cock, and also keeping it unloaded. Alright, so let's take this thing apart. And I assume it's like every other 1911. So you'll see it better from my glasses, but gotta pull it back. Oh, right to that little knob. Kind of hard to see it. Let me point it out. See that indentation? Try and show you. There's an indentation right there. So that indentation's got to line up with this hole, or right with this notch. And this spring is a little tougher than I imagined. I think it's stronger than the 1911, the 45 ACP. Okay, I'm gonna just slowly bring it back. From there, should be able, if I'm remembering correctly, yep, be able to just pull it right out. Oh. Good thing to hold the spring. Okay, so I'm dealing with different components. This is more classic 1911 style. I've never broken one of these down yet, but it's essentially the same. This is a button style. That piece, oh, let me take that. I forget what this piece is. The bushing, barrel bushing. And this barrel bushing comes off some way. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. It looks weird looking down the barrel, but you know it's empty, so it's fine. Man, what? Okay, so you should rotate it, and then it should pop out. Okay. I'm already noticing some slightly different designs that I don't think are this piece right here. Looks almost stronger or something. It's definitely different shape. But I just need to get this bushing off. And I don't know what I did to make my... Oh, okay. That's probably what I needed to do. Let's get that cap out. I'm going to turn on some extra light here. Oh, come on. Swishing. There it is. Okay. I needed to see the notch. Okay, that wasn't exactly smooth breakdown, but simple nonetheless. So we could add a bushing right there. I would have to go get them, so let me go and get that. This is a standard GI style. It doesn't have an extended bill. It's got just one side thumb safety, not universal, not ambidextrous. It's got the original style sights, very minimal checkering or patterning for grip. It's actually kind of slippery, but that's fine. I might end up replacing some of these parts, and I'll have extras again. It's fine, and I don't know. I always flip-flop, but I did this. I'm gonna probably take it to the range again tomorrow and see if there's any difference. I kind of discovered the ammo that I have is very, very weak. This with the ammo that I have, it's technically weaker than a 9mm. Sometimes a 38 Super is more powerful than a 9mm. Sometimes a 9mm is more powerful than the 38 Super. It just depends on the ammo. But typically, the 38 is a little bit more powerful, just a little bit, on average, than the 9mm. It's also a flatter shooter. That means it flies straighter because of that power. It doesn't drop as much. It has less recoil. So flatter recoil, flatter shooting. It actually can travel straighter, farther than a 9mm with less recoil, typically. And that is actually the reason why it is popular for what it is. It's popular because it's popular among competition shooter enthusiasts. So I didn't really know that getting it. I'm more of a niche caliber fan. I really like high velocity, and this is a little bit higher velocity than most. So it's kind of interesting to learn that this is actually a competition style type pistol for the more older school generation. And 38 Super is mostly in 1911 models. There is a few others, but good luck finding that. Anyways, so the changes I made. I added in the extended guide rod, and so it's also chrome. I replaced my 1911's guide rod for a black one, so it matched the gun more. This one's perfect for it because it's chrome. Or not chrome, titanium looking, whatever. It's silvery, so it matches it. It actually feels like it slides a little bit straighter for some reason, hence the guide rod. That is what it's designed to do. The other one, if you want to see it, is much shorter. It's cool to have this original model style, but I still think the extended guide rod is a little bit bigger, or better. This is the one it came with, so this sits inside here. I'll show you once it's all taken apart, but damn. But let me take it apart again. But essentially, it's got a longer guide rod, when before you wouldn't even see it. So it's kind of cool. I do like this one because it gives it a completely different look. But I do tend to like the extended guide rod look. I think it looks cooler. I think it has more potential to be better. It adds weight to the front, so technically it should reduce recoil by a very fractional percent. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I've decided I'm going to keep the wood grips. I want it to be as pretty as possible. The only other thing is I had to take out the front piece that was chrome and add in the one with a hole in it so that the extended guide rod can poke out. That is why this one doesn't need the hole, because it doesn't poke out. So it doesn't need it. It looks completely different with no guide rod. Without the guide rod, it looks like a one barrel. With the guide rod, it kind of almost for a split second looks like it has two barrels. I think it just kind of makes it look cooler. So this is going to be a hybrid. It's going to look old because it doesn't have the beaver tail. It's got the classic stuff, but it has that guide rod, just a touch of modern in this little piece. But yeah, I guess I'll keep it out. Let me start taking it down, breaking it down again. I was very surprised. Everything fits exactly the same. This is indeed the same exact frame of a 1911. It just has a different barrel and a different size magazine hole for obviously a different size magazine. So let me break this down again. Here we go. Hopefully this time it's a little bit faster. Jesus, this stuff is tight tolerances. It's even harder to get back together now that I have the extended guide rod on. Yes, this one is easier to put together than this extended one. As you can see, the difference. Here you go, camera, and here I go, camera. So this is where it sits, and that's where it ends. Now the guide rod is all the way out to there. So yeah, it's supposed to help guide the spring and make sure that the spring doesn't get all bent up and weird. So yeah, essentially it should be more efficient than this one. You'll have to forgive me. I'm kind of tired. So we got the first pieces out. Oh, I'm gonna need the tool probably. There's a specific tool that you can buy. Sometimes you buy things and it comes with it. In this case, when I bought something, it came with it. I thought it was a bottle opener, but no, it's actually a tool for the 1911. This can help you with the part that I told you was more complicated, because it's just a lot of spring tension here, and it's really hard on the fingers. So you're going to need some sort of metal piece to push this in. Going all the way back to the original way that I know how to break it down, except for, of course, it doesn't want to move. Oh, that's why. Had some pressure from the spring. Let's see if I could just do it by thumb. Alright, we'll just one thing at a time here, because this spring pressure is just a lot and I don't want to lose this piece. And I'm just going to take everything apart. So this is the buffer I was talking about that the other one was missing. This little rubber piece. It's supposed to help reduce recoil, again, by fractions of whatever. And the blue line is where the beginning is. It's always good to try and keep note of everything. So it's pretty dirty. You might not be picking it up on the camera, but it is. You can take this piece out now. Hopefully everything's coming out clear. Probably isn't, so you'll have to forgive me, but now we can start cleaning everything. So I got Rem oil, plus I got the screen. I can't be helping, but Remington oil. This is the cleaner, and then this is the good lube stuff. It also comes in Remington. So either one, you just need a more proven lubricant for the end. At least that's what I like to do. This thing is for the barrel. Alright, so we're just gonna, and I don't have a bigger brush. It would be more ideal to have a bigger brush, but you want to loosen up all the carbon, all that stuff in there. And I got, of course, a towel for exactly that. So we're just going to loosen up all that stuff in there. And this is copper wire basically, so it's not going to do any damage inside here. Copper is not strong enough to do damage on this kind of metal here. This is like steel on copper. It stands no chance. The copper is going to break every time versus this metal. It's going, that's how it works, and I didn't really know that for a long time. But this is also, I think this is brass, and it's also not strong enough really to be damaging, I believe. Anyways, that should be relatively good. Okay, you're going to want to switch out that copper one for one with a little hole in it. It's not very scientific stuff here. Of course, just very meticulous. These patches are kind of crap because they're very small. But we're just going to have to make do and use everything you got. Going to have to get some paper towels and start shredding them up if you have to. Try and get 2 in there if I can. Okay. Now let's get this barrel clean first thing. It just takes a minute. Everything takes a minute when you're cleaning. You gotta have to be patient and just do it over and over again. Get a trash can, get some towels. Make sure you got a lot of lubricant. As you can see, it's pretty dirty still. It's going to take a minute. Like I said, be patient, do it over and over again. So it looks clean, still grabbing dirt, obviously. Let's try and get a little bit of the outside now, just because these cloths are relatively clean, so. This can is crap sometimes. You might see that it shoots from the side, so be wary not to get that stuff in your eyes if it accidentally does that. Try to get everything. Okay, that's just metal marks. Maybe it was there before. We'll have to keep that in mind and remember it for next time after we go shooting tomorrow. Obviously, I'm expecting it to go alright with this extended guide rod. I've never done that with a different caliber, but everything in this should be pretty much interchangeable except for, like I said, the magazine and the barrel. The spring, I would even venture to say, is probably safe to replace with a 45, but I didn't. You never know. Maybe this spring is different. It might have a different tension than the 45 one. I don't think it's likely, but you never know. Yeah, they looked very much identical. I didn't compare them too closely, but I would venture to say we'll compare them in a little bit. Gotta be careful not to mix them up though, just in case. I'm just going to make sure I got this barrel good. It should be about done. It's like black marks on the tip, but that's fine. That's whatever. Only the bad guys will see that. And they won't see it for very long. Okay, it's pretty clean. Like, there's still a little bit of black coming on the thing, but that's fine. I'm going to say this is about clean as it's going to get. We set it aside. Start getting in this guy. It's going to take a minute. Well, yeah, nice thing about this nickel-plated thing is, sure is easy to tell where it gets dirty. Oh, man. Wow. That is probably the blackest I've ever seen a cloth get. That is crazy. So, we had a couple malfunctions today. I'm going to chalk that up to both breaking in period and, well, I didn't clean this thing. I just shot it how it was. So it did fairly well considering it might not have had very much lubrication on it. It might have been sitting there for a very long time, needing a clean. You just don't know. So, I did not read the instruction manual yet, but I do assume it says, we'll give it a check, but I bet it's going to say there is a 500 shot break-in period. Every Rock Island Armory that I've owned so far. Oh, what the heck? That push pin that was sticking out earlier is now, that is bizarre. That was protruding before, so maybe it comes back out. Gonna need a very small, there we go. Got to be very careful with this piece. If you lose this centerpiece, it's your firing pin, so you don't have a working firearm. And there's a spring behind it, so you got to make sure you're blocking that. Okay, but I wanted to get this out here and clean it as well. Probably got to be careful with this piece because it's kind of fragile stuff, so I would be careful dealing with the firing pin. In fact, it's not even really suggested you mess with this stuff, but since it's the first time cleaning, I wanted to get it good and lubed up. And check out all this, make sure inside of there is clean. Just run it through real quick. I really don't do that enough on my other ones. So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a deep cleaning real quick on this one. Oh yeah. She be dirty in there. I haven't given her a name yet. I need to rename all my pistols because I don't really remember them all. So, this one might be named Sally in honor of Mustang and Sally. I think my 1911 will be named Mustang, so one of them at least. This is Sally because she's really sweet. She has very minimal recoil. She's just a sweetheart. And now I get it. I do. I get why the gun community likes it. It's a logical reason. It is a very clean shooter. It is like shooting a .22 with a lot of power in that sense, that it's very easy to shoot. But for a competition shooter back in the 80s and 90s, it was a very, it's like a cheat. I mean, like, you got everything else. It's just going to be a more accurate shooter. It's going to be a more long-range shooter. It's going to be a less recoil shooter. It's going to have everything going for it compared to 1911 45 or 9mm. And faster bullets. It's helpful if you have a nice, strong something or other to get these cracks with. That's why you see me using this stick. I'm trying to get this in there, in all those deep crevices. With the cloth. I can't believe that piece is all inward. That might be the reason why the mag was not holding open. The mag was not holding open the slide. I'm going to try and get this cloth even dirtier. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do not watch it. But I enjoy doing this for sure. I like cleaning videos even, or although I don't do them that often, I will do them as many times as I can from now on. I promise you. And I will make as many shooting videos now that I have these glasses and this GoPro with my helmet. I may show you that. I may not. I don't really know. There's a lot on my mind. I'm tired. But, yeah, I have the capability of getting some more footage when I didn't before as much. But not when it comes to comparison stuff. I would need to have my own place to shoot and be able to set up something so that I could show comparison shots, la-da-da-da-da, that type of stuff. And you can't do that so much in the range. It is more frowned upon, I believe. Just not something I look forward to doing ever. I don't intend to do that. So what you see is what you get sometimes on the range. Because I don't own the property, I cannot do all the things I would like to do. I'm just grateful they let me use my spy glasses as a means to protect my eyes. Okay, actually it's looking pretty good. Let's get this piece cleaned up and finished. Try to clean the spring up. Okay. Spring and then that. And this piece goes right here. Round part must go on the top. Kind of forgot. Again, you need pointy things for this task. It's very nerve-wracking to do this sometimes. Okay. Got it back in there. Forgot to lube it up. God damn it. it should probably be lubed. I'm assuming. Like, I don't know the exact rule on that, but I would assume it's a probable yeah. Okay, should be lubed and good. Alright, I can continue cleaning things. Clean this piece, make sure it's good. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a nuisance doing this, but that's what you gotta love it, man. You just gotta enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're gonna hate it. Gotta love it. Right now I'm enjoying it. Right now I am enjoying this. I feel like Bob Ross. I think these parts are clean enough. Let's get this one. These are not really essential parts. Like, these don't essentially need to be that clean, but, you know, you want to get them clean still. They're just the parts holding everything together. The extremely well-designed parts holding everything together. They are just blocks. The stuff that you need to clean are the barrel, the springs, these grooves. These things are probably the most important things, but don't skim it. Just do the job. Just do the job right. Right? Doesn't take that much time. You got to remember, it's all for the fun of shooting. You want that thing to be perfect when you shoot it again. And that's what I intend to happen this next go around. I want it to be an even better experience than the first. Maybe I can even figure out this whole, because I swear that little piece has got to do something either with it's probably just the ejector. Question is how do I get it back out? How am I able to pull it? Doesn't seem to want to move, so I think it has to come. I don't know. I've never known about that mechanism and its full capabilities, what its functions fully are. I'm pretty sure that it's the ejector, but I don't know how to adjust it. I'm going to call that fine. It's really these grooves that I'm concerned with now. You want to get the outside ones and the inside ones. I guess there's only outside ones. Still want to get all this inside crap out of here. It's a lot of powder residue in here. Trust me, it is meticulous working with these small things, but at the same time, you can see I'm able to repack it, get a next one going relatively quickly. And that's because of their size, in a sense. Getting every little groove I can get. Being extremely meticulous, and I'll switch sides. Oh, that's the piece I was looking at earlier. Never mind. That's the ejector. That's right there. That's the ejector. That should be it. So that piece might have something to do with the yeah, the magazine hold slide lock. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And even the things that I know a lot on, there's still a lot to learn. So always remember that. You should always be humble, because there is always a lot to learn. I've been doing this kind of stuff for a relatively long enough time to have learned a lot of stuff. But also, a lot of the stuff that I've learned has been irrelevant. That's part of learning, is learning what you want to retain. And since I like 1911s a lot, I don't know a lot of things about Glocks. In fact, I know very little. It wouldn't be very hard for me to be able to dismantle one, because it's also very similar to this design in many ways. That's how influential this gun is. Now, I'm not saying they're exactly the same, but they are similar. If you look at the components, everything's in the same places. It's just different styles. They use different techniques of achieving the same thing. One would say one's more efficient. I think the 1911 is one of the most beautiful designs and smart, easy. Like it's just cheaper to manufacture, probably. I don't know. There's something about it I respect the hell out of its simplicity. It's so much easier than a Glock in concept and understanding. Even in milling, probably. This is an easier thing to create, which is why it came first, you know. Try and get the inside of the mag a little bit, make sure it's kind of cleaned out so that we don't have any other residue just lingering around. And I think it's pretty much ready for the lube stage, so I'm just going to go ahead. It's not like it's that dirty anyways, so I lubed it up pretty good. I'm going to lube up here pretty good. Just being a little liberal with it, because it's fine. It's going to be shot tomorrow. I don't think it's a big deal. You can put this back together a couple of different ways, so let me make sure I'm showing this to everybody. Put the barrel in, and then you can put this part in. Make sure everything's in the same positioning. In order to do that, you kind of have to take the spring out. Yeah, for some reason it just doesn't like it to do it with the spring on. But without the spring, it slides right in there. You just put the spring on after. Make sure the spring is all the way up against the back. Okay, now comes the hard part. I prefer putting it back on its shell, I guess, before the hard part. And then put this on next. That way you don't have to do it later. So, get the groove in the notch. Now it can drop. Now you can slide it over to this side. From here it's not going to come out. It has to come out from that way that I put it in. Put this back down. Now we can get this guy down and hold everything in place. It's a little hard to show everybody, but we can get this thing in its hole. See what I mean by all this spring tension stuff? It's just where everything gets a little complicated, I suppose. Now, this is how you're supposed to use it, kinda. You put this over it. Now I'm holding it with the bushing on its lip. From here, I can hold it in place to make sure it doesn't fly out, right? I'm going to use my belly to stabilize a little more. You can use this more, make it a little easier on yourself. Okay, got it. Got the bushing over it. Now you just slide it, keep sliding it over. And see the bushing now clicks in with the other part. It's on half cock. Oh, gonna need to put that in there. Kinda need that part to hold everything in place. This is the piece that holds everything together, essentially. Hold everything together. That's what I mean, like all these parts are not essential to clean, but they are obviously essential to the gun. Gotta get that ring inside there to line up. It's always a little bit tricky, but it's not really too much once you get the hang of it and get it to roll in the right spot, put the right pressures on it. I had it really easy the first time I was putting it back together, but I just cannot get that thing to roll over. There, I got it lined up relatively well. You know what? Probably need to scoot this back a little bit. There it goes. Okay, now it's in the hole. I just need to slide this back and get it back in its groove holes. I know I'm just saying a lot of weird words. I don't know the technical stuff for all of these terms. So I learned it at some point. I just, you know, you only say them once and you forget them. Try and make this as easy to see as possible, but I need to line this guy up a little bit straighter because there's this little teeny nub that holds this stuff all together, and you got to push through that spring pressure as well. There it is. Okay. I just did a hard press and it went right on in. A little different than the Tokarev. The Tokarev has that catch that holds it together. This one has this spring style thing. So now it's all done, and I really enjoy the aesthetic of it now. Well, I did before as well, but I think it looks even better with that extended. I'm happy. So that was the cleaning video. Sorry that took a while, but cleaning takes time. And it's all ready to go for tomorrow, and it feels great. Can't say I'm unsatisfied. There was a little bit of buyer's remorse, but after learning it's a really good competition shooter, I was satisfied. And the reason why there's a little bit of buyer's remorse is because most of the calibers that you're going to find, most of these 38 Super brands that you're going to buy and you see sell, they are not as powerful as you might want them to be. This can max out at about 14, 15 maybe, but more likely 1400 feet per second. But the average you're going to get is about 11, 12, 13 maybe. 14s are going to be the expensive ammos that are going to be really hard to find, but overall, like I said, it is more powerful than a 9mm. It's a flatter shooter, as they say, which means it's going to have less recoil and it's going to shoot straighter, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if the recoil has to do with it, but I'm pretty sure the velocity and its straight trajectory is why they call it a flat shooter. So it is overall very cool. I wish the sights were maybe different, but I just can't argue with it. You know, it's just a classic gun, and very satisfied with it, you know. I'm glad I got to use that extended guide rail again. You know, I kind of thought it was just a useless part, and I think I might just keep it. You know, I like the classic look, but it still has that classic look. You're never going to see that until you're loading it, and it's just a personal thing that you get to see, so it's not a big deal. It still definitely looks classic. The beaver tail is not as long as my other ones. It looks very classic and pretty and fancy. And I've never owned a fancy gun. I've always kind of had a disdain for them, but this one, I just gotta say, has got a special place in my heart because of the special caliber. I also got this to replace the Tokarev in a way, because the Tokarev ammo might be hard to get someday, if not relatively soon. So the Super is a little bit more findable, and it's also somewhat popular in, like, I guess South America areas, because they can't have access to military cartridges or calibers, so they use 38 Super. It is a powerful round, and it's a civilian round, so it only makes sense that the 38 Super is a popular round down there in other areas in which they can't have the things that we have sometimes. So it's a niche, yet popular, yet unpopular, yet hard to come by, yet kind of common to come by in senses, in a lot of ways, or in a couple of ways, I suppose. It's just an interesting gun, and that's why I got it. I was for a second a little disappointed, but after reaffirming all of its pros and cons that I've learned about, and more that I've come to learn about, it's just grown on me even more. Now I see it as a very specific, very special kind of pistol, and it just keeps getting prettier the more I look at it. It really does. It gets prettier the more I look at it. Such a pretty gun. So yeah, I never envisioned myself having something like this, but here I am, and I hope you enjoy it too. I hope you don't think I molested it too much by adding this tip and the extended guide rail, but it is what it is. I'm going to test it out tomorrow. Obviously, hopefully it works. It should. I have 99.9% faith in this change. It should be 100% fine. And that is a kind of a cool thing about 1911 guns. They're, for the most part, kind of like Glock, or a lot of them are interchangeable. Or they make designs like Rock Island has a 9mm that is also 22 TCM, interchangeable barrels. Like it's a very they've maxed it out on its potential. The 1911 model has been a work in progress for a very long time, even after we've moved past it and went to the Browning high power. In terms of design, in terms of advancing in design, we still had room to improve the 1911, and I think that's really cool. And it's a testament to how good of a platform the 1911 platform is that it's hung around this long, and it always had a little bit more room for improvement, yet not that much. It was already pretty much mastered as the day it came out. So if you want to know a few of the details that were changed from the original design that this one has, that the original design does not, would be this cutout right here. That is one of them for sure. The original one was not as cut to fit the hand. It's not as ergonomical. This one, they cut out this feature. See how it's got that little dip? That was not there. It was a much sharper cut on the original design. I don't think it had a beaver tail originally. Originally, the angle of grip might have even been different. There's a lot of history behind the making of the 1911 that's definitely worth checking out on the Forgotten History channel. Me personally, the reason I got introduced and the reason I got interested in the 1911 38 Super is because of a YouTube channel that goes by the name of Paul Harrell. He's a gun channel. He's my favorite gun channel out there because of how much information he gives. And he has shown his 38 Super a lot. He's compared it with a lot of things, and he's always stated that it's his favorite one of his favorite pistols, and it's always kind of stuck with me. And finally, it just called my name. And then I was rewatching his videos today and I was researching via videos on this particular caliber, and that's when I learned about all the competitive shooting stuff. Well, when I was watching Paul Harrell's, he said that why it's popular and why it's not popular is a video on itself. We'll get into it in another day. Well, I don't think he's ever got back to that topic on any other days. So I think what he would have said is that it's popular and not popular, but it's popular in the gun shooting community amongst the competition shooters. And I think he would have said stuff along those lines. So, and the reason he might not have made a video about it is because there's already videos about that, which is why I watched one. So he probably feels like it's a moot point or it's unnecessary. I don't know if moot point actually makes sense in that sentence. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed. I absolutely love it. I absolutely advocate for the 38 Super. I hope this ammo, this caliber gets more popular in the future, because it is definitely, it's got, just like the 1911, it's got room for improvement. Like I said, most of those calibers, you'll see them going for like 1200 feet per second, 1100, maybe 13, 14, but if you can get a lot more of those ammos and brands getting their ammos up to 14, that would be so satisfying to see. This is an amazing caliber that has a lot of potential. I mean, 1400 feet per second is fast. And I know the 357 SIG is pretty much right up there too, but it's not as flat of a shooter. That's the thing. This is a special thing. It's got a very flat shooter. It's got a straight projectile. It shoots straight. It's flat. It's got a low recoil. I watched videos on the 357. That thing's got a lot of kick, which is cool. I like kick too, and I don't tend to like low recoil things, but in this case, it's kind of an elite thing. It's a better pistol than the 1911. It's more 45 ACP 1911. It's got more power than the 45. It shoots straighter than the 45. It's got less recoil than the 45. It holds more ammo than the 45. So you can see it's like a Browning high power, but in its grandfather's body. You know, it's got a better caliber. A better caliber that would be probably better suited for something for the high power or something, but apparently the 38 Super is not a good double stack round. So that is the reason why you see it in a lot of 1911s, because it is a single stack cartridge. The cartridge was not designed for double stack. It will not work very efficiently. Apparently there are some brands out there that are designing some that are a little bit better for double stack, but that's another thing that the 38 Super could improve upon. But as it stands, I think it's awesome just as it is. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.